Hi and welcome back. Today's video is actually a continuation of last week's visit to Wollerton Hall. From Wollerton we continued and had a bit of a walk around Notts Uni. They have an open campus and they have a lot of good gardens there. We were going specifically in hunt of blossom, and with a bit of luck I'll show you some blossom on screen now. So for today's video we're walking through Nottingham University campus. We're picking up where we left off at Wollerton Hall last time with the deer, and we're going in search of some spring shots. We're aiming for some blossom. It's the time of year where the blossom appears for a week or two, and we'll see if we can get some nice shots of that. So it's very mobile on foot, this video. Still in the bike gear because we rode up to Wollerton. It's about a 5-mile round trip that we're doing. Lovely day. So fingers crossed we'll find some nice trees. Well, you sometimes get more than you bargain for. Just had 3 parakeets flying around and eating the blossom, which was most unexpected. As you can see, there are a few blossom trees around, but I think they stole the show. We'll see what we've got when we get back, but some great pictures of these trees here in Nottingham. I would recommend Highfields. The lake's just to our right, it's quite nice, but yeah, that was a pleasant surprise, that one. In terms of equipment for today, we have the 50mm 1.2, absolutely fantastic lens. It's the EF version, not the RF version, and it's mounted on an EF to RF adapter on the Canon R5. We are shooting handheld and no tripods, and an Ewa rucksack to carry everything in, and that's it. So when we set out this morning, I was expecting to take a blossom shot with my 50mm 1.2 aperture lens, and I ended up taking a shot at 363mm with my 100-500 lens. That meant my aperture, instead of being down at 1.2, was up at 5.6. My exposure time was 1/400th to try and get the bird still, and the ISO was up at 250 to make that all balanced and exposed. So I'm very glad I took a long lens with me as well as a short lens. I took some lovely pictures with the 50mm and I really did enjoy using it, but on the day I ended up changing tact quite quickly as soon as I saw the bird. I did very quickly switch over to animal detection from off, and I was on electronic shutter. I was sat right next to the bird, so I didn't want to scare it, but it seemed quite comfortable with me around, and they were our settings. Okay, so here's a 50mm shot, which is what I was intending to take when we first went on this visit. Nice spring airy feel to that. We saw some rabbits, some little ones hopping about, so I grabbed a quick shot of those while I had the 500mm to hand. And after that we were trying some experimentation with using the blossom to frame the shot, and I think we could have done something nice with that. And on the way back we saw some pink cherry blossom as well, which was really nice to see, so I grabbed a quick shot with the 50mm there. Okay, so this picture is not going to need an awful lot of editing. I'm staggered at the fact that this bird was eating the blossom. I did not expect to see a parakeet on the day. I ended up just lying on the floor taking pictures of 3 parakeets in blossom, which was lovely. I want a really bright and light feel to the image, so despite the fact some of it's nearly blown out, or possibly even blown out, I would like to brighten up some of these background bits. The bird will remain as the central focal point. I will likely crop it somewhere differently, so it sits on one of the lines, the traditional lines. We could go either way. We could go right aligned, which is nice, or left aligned. I think I prefer right aligned actually. I think we might do that. Let's start with the crop. So I'll put the beak directly on that right line and also the top line, so it intersects the rule of thirds, top right quadrant. Okay, yeah, I like that. I'll start with shadows and highlights. So image adjustments, shadows and highlights. and I'll pull the shadows up and the highlights down. So for the shadows, we're looking at the bottom left of the image, and for the highlights, we're looking at the top right to make sure we pull them in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move to a more localized improvement by using the dodge tool. And I'm going to use about a 370 pixel brush, 30-ish% exposure, and I'm going to aim for the mid-tones. And I'm just going to run this over the bird to brighten it up a bit. And I'm going to use a bigger brush, about 1000 pixels, 1200, and I'm just going to pick out some of this blossom. Let's duplicate that layer, and we'll move to vibrance and saturation, so image adjustments, vibrance. So I'm looking at the bird now to see what I can do with vibrance. Make it very green, plus 33%, and saturation, plus 9% is plenty. So before, after. Pulls up the sky a bit as well, that, which is quite nice. I might even go a little further with that. So if we can boost the saturation a little further. Probably a bit too much. We'll leave that alone. Okay. It's quite sharp. I'll just see what a unsharp mask will add. It does bring out the feathers on the beak a little further. Yeah, so I'm going to give that an 80% sharpen with a 0.9 radius. Just a small improvement. Now, I'm tempted to zoom in on the bird and make that the focal point of the image, but it's supposed to be about spring and blossom, so I want to keep all this in. I don't like having quite such a big blue triangle on the left-hand side of the image, so I'm going to crop in a little further, and I'll use this stick as a guide. Okay, we'll have a look at brightness and contrast. I think I'm going to take the contrast down and reduce the gap between the lights and the darks, and then the brightness up to give me the nice light spring feel I'm after. Okay, I quite like that. I'm tempted to go for a more landscape crop, still keeping that rule of thirds going, but just bringing you in a little closer. I think I like that better. The stick, I could stand to darken the stick, so I'll just quickly use the burn tool. Again, mid-tones. I just think this will look nice against the really soft, bright white of the flowers. Okay, we'll duplicate that layer again. Okay, right, I might do something a bit obscure now. I'm going to go to channels and the green channel. Now, I'll turn them all on, but I'm only going to edit the green channel. Now, as you saw a moment ago, the green channel has quite a large contribution to the image. But what we're going to do is try and dial down the green on the flowers a little bit, but keep the green on the bird. So to do that, I'm going to use a brush with a black colour, and I'll go for quite large, about 400 pixels, and I'll set my opacity down to 1. Okay, so if I turn that layer off and on, I'm just going to quickly pop to shadows and highlights now. I'll make a new layer for this, and I'm just going to look to pull the highlights down a very small amount. Okay, that's better. Now I can do another trick here. So if I duplicate this layer again, and then go to our channels and only choose the green channel, I'll show them all, but I'm only selecting the green channel. If I go to shadows and highlights now, and pull the highlights down, it will pull the green out of the highlights and gives us a nice pink feel to the flowers. So I'm going to have a quick play with that. But what I don't want to do is lose the green of the bird. So if I turn that layer off, you can see the birds change colour as well. I'm happy with the blossom, but not the bird. So I'll use a layer mask. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint in black the bits that I want to preserve. Okay, we'll merge all of those into a single image, and I might just brighten it a little bit using curves, Control M. I think I like that. There's a perpetual battle that you end up doing where you darken and brighten and darken and brighten. You always think the image will look better a different way. But I think that is probably all we need to do on this. What a fantastic sight though, seeing that parakeet eating the blossom. Absolutely amazing. Totally unexpected that was. 3 parakeets. So I think we'll call that the final image. So we certainly got more than we bargained for in that video. Most unexpected to see the parakeets, and they certainly added to that photo. Exactly the sort of shot I wanted of Blossom, with a nice airy spring feel, and with the added bonus of an unusual bird munching away on it. If you enjoyed that, please do subscribe, and I will see you at the next one.